Keys for building healthy relationships. This key, resolving conflict. Oh boy, if you do not know how to resolve conflict, you will certainly come second. You will always feel like you're never getting anywhere and never feel like you're making inroads of gaining grounds against your partner. But it's not necessary, because there are ways to literally resolve conflict. I want to start off with a statement. It's not a question of if you're going to have conflict, but when you're going to have conflict. Guys, conflict is inevitable. There are different people, two imperfect people coming together for a perfect relationship. Therefore, it's not if, it's but when there will be conflict. And at times, when conflict comes, you'll be so angry that you'll not want to be able to deal with it right there and then. In fact, what do you do when you are so angry that you can literally take you around the neck and squeeze and not stop squeezing? Well, then it's time for you to say, whoa, I would like to give you the principle of timeout. The timeout principle is one that has two factors, time and place. Whenever you get yourself in a situation where you are so angry and you realize that you are not going to become the person that you don't want to be in the relationship, I would like to suggest that you call it timeout. Timeout needs no words. You don't even have to say timeout. You just show it, because this is something that you pre-agree with your partner, that you both agree that when you show this sign, not one of the two of you will argue. All you have to do then is respond to time and place. Time saying 2 hours, which means I take accountability that after I've had my timeout time, I will come back and I will continue the discussion, but I will be under control. I will have myself under control. And place, I will be on the rugby field, hitting golf balls. Because it's so important for your partner to know it's a position of trust. If you said 2 hours, they must know that you will truly in 2 hours come back and make the effort to come and resolve the conflict. And the second thing is, if you said that you're on the rugby field hitting golf balls, do exactly that. Because if you don't, you could just sow distrust into your relationship that is so totally unnecessary. Now, what has happened to me before is that I'm on the rugby field hitting golf balls. My buddies say, what you doing? You look angry. And I said, man, I'm really angry. Oh man, come into the pub and let's just have a drink together and talk about it. But you see, I did not say to my partner, I'm going to be in the pub, which causes a problem. So what you want to do is make sure that you are where you said you would be if ever there's either a priority or an emergency or even just being checked up on. You want to be where you say you're going to be. So timeout is this beautiful principle where you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to defend yourself, you just realize timeout. And I can tell you that sometimes I'm so angry, I have to send myself to the room, get on my knees and pray and ask God to just control my emotions so that I can be the husband that He wants me to be. In fact, I want to challenge you. If ever you get that angry, call timeout on yourself. Say 1 hour, bedroom. Get on your knees and get yourself in a way where you are helping yourself find the solution. Because that way you can deal with anything. So not if, but when we do have conflict and you have to resolve conflict, I'm going to give you 3 methodologies to help you basically come to a place of peace. The first one is what I'm going to call the mug on the table method. The good old mug. You're going to literally have a coffee mug. Now this can be in the home, this can be in business. What you want to do is you have to realize that this mug is going to play a vital role. You're not going to hold it in your hand, because what you're going to do is you're first going to literally take out a pen and you're going to agree with your partner what the problem is. And maybe the problem was, I felt that you accused me. So what you do is you write the problem on a piece of paper and you get agreement. We're talking about accusation. You felt accused. I accused you. Is that correct? Then you take it and you literally take the mug, put it in the mug so it is contained. Then you put it away from you and you put it on the table. As you can see, I put it on the table in front of me. And that way, you now can talk about the problem that's on the table. Mug on the table method is very, very important and works. Because why? There's a few rules of how to handle that. Now, the moment you talk about accusations and then she comes back and says, but 3 weeks ago you, I said, whoa, we're talking about this accusation that's in the mug right now. You have to deal with that accusation. in the mug at the time before you speak about anything else. Get to a point where you get conversation going, solve the problem, say, are we now happy that that problem has been resolved? And if the answer is yes, then you can very easily say, okay, is there anything else? Put it on the paper, get agreement what the problem is, and put it in the mug. I call it mug on the table. That way, there's no reason for you whatsoever to go in circles and not resolve your problem. Try that. Try writing the problem there, but first get agreement, this is the problem. Relate to kids. I once had my kids do exactly the same. And the one would say, but you took my t-shirt. And I said, hold on, what t-shirt? Yellow t-shirt. And we would actually write yellow t-shirt and we'd put that on the mug. And the other one would say, but you took my red t-shirt. Stop. That's the next case. Let's first deal with the yellow t-shirt and we're done and dusted. And then the person says, yes, I'm sorry. I took your yellow t-shirt without your permission. Then we remove the yellow t-shirt tab. We write red t-shirt. We put it in the mug. Then the other child will then speak and say, but you took my red t-shirt 2 days before that without my permission. Quite correctly. I'm sorry. I was wrong too. Can you see what happens here? Because you're taking that problem and you're putting it in the mug and you're putting it away from yourself and you're focusing on the mug, not on the person, you're starting to literally get it. That's how you can resolve conflict. So the first methodology is the mug on the table methodology. The next methodology to resolve conflict is what I call the A-B method. Because if you can actually use the A-B method, you can get to absolution. So imagine you are A and the other person is B. Now, inevitably what we would do, I'm just going to turn here, as you can see on the camera, it would be me against B. So it's A against B. Can you agree with me? So it'll be A fighting with B. Here's the problem. Where's the focus? A on B's person to person, right? Well, that's what's wrong. What we literally have to do is to move sideways. A stand here, B next to me, and we both look away to the mug on the table. Why? Now the problem is not against each other, but the problem is against what's in that mug on the table. So the A-B method is where you change your body language positioning to coincide with what you want to achieve. You literally don't confront each other. You turn side by side, becoming one unit, and then look at the problem that you've put in the mug on the table, and that's what you discuss. That's what you resolve. How many pieces of paper in the mug at a time? You guessed it, one. Because you can only solve one problem at a time. So I would like to invite you to use the A-B method, and in that way find absolution. There's a third method. The third method is what I call the fights principle. Yes, I'm going to give you an acronym that spells F-I-G-H-T-S, the fights principle, so that you know how to have a godly fight. I'm also going to give you some sign language to help you remember this, and please play your part that as I teach you the methodology that you mirror, you emulate what I'm doing. So the F stands for the word face each other. The sign that I'd use to make it easier is that I literally look at you and I show to my face and I point that we need to face each other. But your body language is so important. Can you imagine the person goes, no, that's not what I said. Face each other is just a pleasant, let's face each other. So F for face each other. Then the I. I is for isolate the issue. I'll hold up one finger. I is to isolate the issue. We're not talking about 5 issues. We're just going to talk about this one issue. Isolate the issue. Because as you know, it's impossible to solve and resolve 3, 4, 5 problems at the same time. You can't. So F, face each other. I, isolate the issue. Then G. G is for guard your tongue. The sign I use is I just touch my mouth. Guard your tongue. No name calling. I mean, you don't say to them, you stupid egghead. I mean, the moment you insult the person, what do they want to do? Defend themselves, so they come fighting back. No solution in both calling each other's names. So the G is for guarding your tongue. In fact, if you can have your conflict resolution in peace, you're going to resolve it so much better. Here's the truth about conflict resolution. I've never seen a couple fight in the spirit. I've only seen them fight in the flesh. So as long as you and I realize we are flesh, we're earthly beings with heavenly bodies and a heavenly insight if we choose to do so. But if we resort to the body of in itself, we will fail. But when we become more spiritual, we can gain ground. So guard your tongue. Speak godly language. So F was face each other. I, isolate the issue. G, guard your tongue. Now the H, halt history. The sign I use is halt history. Halt is stop for that, what you want to do, and point back, nothing from history. There's no use in trying to solve something that in 1923 you said. I mean, you just can't get to a point of getting any sense out of that because it's so long ago and it's got no relevance to what you're discussing now. In fact, if you are still referring back to 1923, there's something very, very wrong in your relationship. You know what it says? You don't have to fight. And if that is your breakthrough today, to say that we are going to sit after this discussion and we're going to put that on the table and we're going to get that discussion about on the 23rd of April out of the way. It's never going to happen again. Why? Because you can isolate the issue to that incident on that date. Okay? And then from then on, halt history. You do not have to talk about what happened in the past whatsoever. In fact, here's good advice. I would only ever have any conversation about what happened in this week. And when you get to that point of time, once a week, there's one question that you want to ask that's going to change the world. Are you ready for that question? Here it comes. Is there anything that I may have done or said that could have upset you this week? I'm going to say it again. Is there anything that I may have done or said this week that could have upset you? So you're assuming that you could have upset the person. You're not saying you're guilty. You're asking a question. It opens up the communication for the two of you to get to the next level. That's the right way to do it. Because remember, your purpose here is to resolve your conflict. So we are looking at the fights principle. F, face each other. I, isolate the issue. G, guard your tongue. H, halt history. T, be tuned in. Men have got this thing that they sort of tune out the moment they see that their wife raises the voice, or vice versa. The other partner tunes out. Guys, tuning in, being connected is absolutely key to getting conflict done the right way. So you want to make sure that you tune in to get your conflict resolved. So that was T for tune in. And the last step in the fights principle is S. S for stay in there. You can see I'm pointing to the floor and I'm saying stay in there. Because if you want to resolve your conflict, you're going to get your agreement. We're going to stay here until we resolve this one issue. So let me give it to all of you again. Here we go, the fights principle. F, face each other. I, isolate the issue. G, guard your tongue. H, halt history. T, be tuned in. And S, stay in there. Now you have a methodology that you can use to have a godly fight. I really pray that these keys will help you go to the next level. And now people ask me, but you've given us 3 methodologies. You've given us the mug on the table, you've given us the A-B method, and you've given us the fight principle. Which one do we choose? Well, the one that works best. Try them all. And after a while, the one that works best, keep on doing it. But what is very important is that you're going to leave today, after this discussion, and agree. When we have conflict in the future, not if, when we have conflict, we will absorb the following method, try it, and this is the one that we will keep and maintain. If you can follow these principles, I want to promise you, fighting will never be the same. I can tell you that since we've decided how to do this, we've deployed these principles in our home, I must have had 2 or 3 in the past 5 years. Only serious stuff. Because if you stick to anything in this week that you have resolved, and you can communicate on that regularly, you do not have to fight about nonsense. So it's my prayer for you. Deploy these tactics and become excellent at resolving conflict.